वो ذكرते हैं Yeah, pull it from there. There is a
Hi.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency.
Good afternoon.
I'm glad to be here to see you. I came for you today.
No, thank you so much, and it's so nice to see you and at least interact digitally with you.
Marafak.
I hope that soon we can see each other in person.
Definitely, definitely.
My name is Al Ansari, Jalil Ansari.
see the other side of it.
Welcome to Bahrain. I hope that your stay will be good with us and successful.
Thank you so much. So far, it has been very comfortable, and we have settled in very fast.
Very good.
Thanks.
But because of this situation now, it's not easy to mix soon. You know, that's the problem.
That's true. That's true. But we hope that soon situation will improve.
Like this.
But in a small group, it's possible. I think 2-3 people, it's possible.
Definitely. Yeah, let's meet soon.
Close that one if you can.
This situation now, it's not easy to mix soon. You know, that's the problem.
That's true. That's true. But we hope that
Other side, maybe the other side. Like this.
Excellencies,
in a small group, it's possible. I think 2-3 people, it's possible.
Excellencies,
definitely.
with
Yeah,
your
let's meet
with your
soon.
permission, can we start?
Close that one if you can.
So,
Can we start? Okay, I will let the MC for the day.
Situation now, it's not easy to mix soon. You know, that's the problem.
that's true. That's true.
The
Okay.
other one. Other one. Other one. Like this.
We need Excellencies.
In a small group, it's possible. I think 2-3 people, it's possible.
We need. You can start.
أنا لازم أعطيك من عندي يا عبد النبي، لازم أعطيك ليتات من عندي أنا وياك دارك.
شوفي لحظة مع اللي يحب نشغل
بس مو كل وقت يصير.
Hello all. Good evening.
أحسن.
Good evening. Namaste to all. A great privilege to welcome this wonderful audience. On behalf of Bahrain chapter of ICI, I welcome and thank you for attending this session. Hi, I'm CA Vineet Maru, member of Executive Committee of Bahrain chapter of ICI, and will be your master ceremony for today's event. As Gandhiji said, happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. Happiness is when what you think, what you say, what you do are in harmony. Such a simple thought and so difficult to practice. The thought is timeless, and we believe that following it lead to a much satisfied and content life, and definitely will help us to log into the future. Let's start this event here. I would like to inform you that there will be a cultural and quiz session in today's event, and theme for the both is Mahatma Gandhi. Insider tip, attending this session with full attendance will be a great resource for the quiz. To the members, I want to give another Zoom advice before we get started. Please mute your mic during the session. If you have any question during the presentation, please type them into the question box in your control panel. I will bring them up at the end of the presentation. Now, let me call our versatile chairperson, CA Ajay Kumar, for the welcome address. CA Ajay Kumar, over to you.
Thank you, CA Vineet. Just a second. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can.
So respected chief guest for the event, His Excellency Piyush Srivastava ji, the Ambassador of India to Kingdom of Bahrain. Respected guest of honor, His Excellency Abdul Nabi Al Shola sir. Speaker of the day, Dr. Swagato Chatterjee. The other dignitaries who have joined us today, thank you. Members, guests, and all welcome guests, good afternoon to you. We had the honor of meeting His Excellency Piyush ji and Renu ji a couple of weeks ago. It was a very productive meeting that we had, where we could explain the activities of BCICI which we undertake, as well as our vision for the future. I thank His Excellency Piyush ji for his wholehearted appreciation of the CA fraternity and offer of support to our activities. It was during this meeting that His Excellency raised the topic of conducting some events in commemoration of Mahatma Gandhi's 150th anniversary celebration. It is a 3-year celebration which started in 2018, and this is the finale year. So we had assured him that we will dedicate the month of September towards this and conduct activities in this regard. So today, His Excellency Piyush ji will officially launch the theme for the month, which will culminate with a finale on the 2nd of October on the event of Gandhi Jayanti. I'm really thankful to His Excellency Piyush ji for taking the time out of his busy schedule to be the chief guest for today and address our members. And special thanks to you, sir, for all the support the embassy is extending in relation to the conduct of the CA examinations in Bahrain. We have committed to participate in every event or initiative that the embassy is going to conduct. Our guest of honor is someone who is very familiar not only to the BCICI fraternity, but the Indian community in Bahrain as a whole. He's someone who is a follower of the Gandhian principles and has written a book on the relevance of Gandhiji's principle for the Arab world. I think you would agree with me that there wouldn't be a better person than His Excellency Abdul Nabi Al Shola, sir, to be our guest of honor for the event where we are celebrating Mahatma Gandhi. Thank you, sir, for joining us today despite very short notice. They say whatever happens is for a reason. Last week, we were supposed to have a session on Gandhian economics, but due to technical reasons, it couldn't happen. But I believe it must have been because today is the perfect occasion for this session. So we are grateful to Dr. Swagato Chatterjee for speaking to us on this interesting concept of Gandhian economics. Thank you, Dr. Chatterjee, for joining us, and we look forward to your session. I'm also happy to welcome the members of BIS and other associations in Bahrain who have joined us on this special occasion, and all the dignitaries and His Excellencies who have also joined us on this occasion. Thank you very much to all of you. I'll speak a little bit later on the activities that we have lined up as part of this month's theme once the theme launch is done. So until then, I would probably hand back the control to CA Vineet. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson C. Ajay Kumar, for your address. Our guest of honor this afternoon is a social powerhouse, a man without boundaries, His Excellency Mr. Abdul Nabi Al Shola. He is the founder and advisor to the board of Al Fana Investment Holding Company, chairman of Dar Al Bilad for Journalism, Publishing and Distribution Company. He has held key positions such as Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs, Minister of States, member of Shura Council and Executive Committees. Also, he has served as chairman of General Organization of Social Insurance GOSI, second vice chairman of Bahrain Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and chairman of Bahrain India Society. He has authored a book, Gandhi and Issues of Arabs and Muslims, which was among the shortlisted contenders in the Sheikh Zayed Book Award for contribution to the development of nation category. He was awarded Distinguished Achievement Award in Public Relation by Bahrain Public Relation Association, the late Sheikh Isa bin Salman Al Khalifa First Class Medal, Award for Leadership in Training and Human Resource Development by Dale Carnegie Foundation. Welcome, His Excellency Mr. Al Nabi Al Shola. Honored to have you with us. Over to you, sir.
His Excellency, you are on mute. His Excellency, I think you're.
Sir, you are on mute.
Okay now?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yes, sir.
All right, then once again, I'm really thankful for your kind introduction and for giving me the opportunity to interact today to such a distinguished gathering, and in particular with the first time to have such an interaction with His Excellency, the new ambassador to Bahrain, whom I had the opportunity and the privilege of meeting just a few days ago. And once again, I would like to wish him every success in his all endeavors and to assure him that we all, in particular the group you are now interacting with, are all available to assist you in achieving your objectives. The subject today cannot be more relevant. It is linking between the new target of the Prime Minister of India of making India a self-reliant nation, and linking it with the Sarvodaya concept, which was launched by Mahatma Gandhi, which basically means progress for all. And the Gandhi's economic approach is basically based on self-reliance, making India self-reliant, and making, in fact, every village of India is a self-reliant unit within the Indian Union. Gandhi's economic approach is, in fact, based on growth and on job creation. If we go back even to the basics of things, his core principles of peace, nonviolence, and coexistence are the main foundation of any successful economic growth and development anywhere. No growth can be achieved, and no progress can be made, and no jobs can be created in a violent environment at all. We know that, of course. Or in the absence of peace and coexistence. Coexistence at the same time means cooperation. And cooperation is the core also of the ingredients, or one of the main ingredients of economic growth. We all know violence blocks the path to growth, It blocks the path to progress, to development. And I believe that the cornerstone, or the most important dimension of Gandhi's approach to economics, is his view of the role of the state and the control it exercises on the economic life of the nation or of the people. For Gandhi, the state should have the least control over the resources of the country or over the resources of the nation. And that power should not be concentrated at the central level. Thus, Gandhi believed in decentralization or decentralized economic system. He believed that villages of India are the grassroots of its growth, and as such, he focused his whole attention on the rural development. Okay, his decentralized model of growth was based on the promotion of the villages as a self-sustained unit, or self-sufficient units within the economy. On the other hand, Nehru had opposing views, as we all probably know. He was a visionary and was under the influence of socialism or of socialist ideology. Nehru was in favor of centralized style of economy, a socialist model of a society. To him, the state reflects the commanding power or the commanding heights of the economy. The center issue is the state. he considered the state at the prime as a prime or as the prime instrument in promoting growth and development. Gandhi, contrary to India's socialist and communist, was averse to the notions of class warfare and the concept of class-based revolutions, which he saw as causes of social violence and disruption and disharmony, which hampers definitely the economic growth and the progress of any nation. Here again, we saw Gandhi as a far-sighted thinker and as a man ahead of his time, as we saw how communism eventually collapsed and socialism or the socialist system started to withdraw. However, Gandhi did not object to the accumulation of wealth by individuals or by corporations, but he tagged it with the concept of trusteeship, okay, which mainly means social responsibility, a concept which is increasingly being advocated highly in all the society. Gandhi was not in favor of large scale or excessive industrialization because he was concerned with its negative impacts on employment. And we all know that, especially for India, which has got excess of manpower, employment, and on the environment, and also on the natural resources. Today, this is a main core of any economic thinker or any economic growth, the environment, the natural resources, and the employment. Today also, we recall his concept of Swadeshi. Swadeshi, okay, as we see the concept of globalization being a challenge. Gandhi was able to read the future, okay? He advocated the concept of Swadeshi, or our priority is our own country. This is what it means in Hindi, and I think my friends here can correct me if I'm wrong. It means our priority is to our own country. This concept now, which also means adopting an economic model suitable for India's need. The same call is now repeated by the current Prime Minister, who wanted India to be a self-reliant nation, a self-sustained nation. And we now also hear Swadeshi in different languages. We now see that the same concept is being echoed through the cry that America first. We know that the president of America now, and he has based all his economic approach to Swadeshi, which is our country first, America first. And with this, I can see that there is no doubt absolutely on the new approach of the government, of the new prime minister of India, in making an objective or an aim as his target is to make India a sustainable, a self-reliant nation. India has all the ingredients, all what it needs. There is the science, technology, resources, human resources, which not only can uplift the economy of India, they are all contributing to the uplifting of the world economy in different corners of the world. And one of them is in Bahrain. We are relying on our Indian partners here, and I call them partners. I will not use the word expatriates, in helping us in uplifting our economy and helping us in achieving our growth and development. With this, I would like to thank the Indian community and thank you again for giving me the opportunity. I see you have got more than 45 participants in this gathering. I don't want to take more time, and I'm happy to comment again if required. Thank you.
Thank you, His Excellency, for your thoughtful word. I think it is Swadeshi is not about being in that country, about promoting Indian goods. It's about, if we are living in Bahrain, it's about promoting Bahrain culture, and we want to, if we live in Bahrain, we want to make Bahrain self-reliant. It's a pleasure to have you here. One more question: when can we get your English translation of your book? Most of our readers are looking forward for the English translation of your book.
It is in the process. Unfortunately, this corona has caused the delay. Already we have received the Urdu translation because it was printed in different city, but the English one is printed by one major publishers, which is in Delhi. And unfortunately, the corona has hampered the process, and we expected by November, I was told now. And the Hindi is ready, it's in its way, and also the Malayalam is being printed now.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
And with the Swadeshi, as long when you are in Bahrain and use the word Swadeshi, you mean Bahrain. We know that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, His Excellency. Thanks a lot, sir. In collaboration with Embassy of Bahrain, we are commemorating an year-long 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. On this occasion, I would like to welcome our chief guest, His Excellency Piyush Srivastava, to unveil the theme which is dedicated to the father of a nation. His Excellency Piyush Srivastava ji, over to you, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, and very good afternoon to all of you.
His Excellency, with your permission, can we launch the theme before you speak, or do you want to do it after?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so with your permission, I am launching on behalf of you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. You can speak.
Okay. Done?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. His Excellency Abdul Nabi Al Shola, former minister and member of Shura Council, Kingdom of Bahrain. Speaker of the day, Dr. Swagato Chatterjee, professor from IIT Kharagpur. CA Ajay Kumar, chairperson of Bahrain chapter of ICAI. Members of the Bahrain chapter of ICAI, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let me begin by extending my congratulations to the Bahrain chapter of ICAI for this initiative of holding month-long celebrations for commemorating 150 years of Mahatma Gandhi, a figure who inspired many around the globe with his message of non-violence, peace and love, and about whom we were enlightened today by the words of my previous speaker, my friend, His Excellency Mr. Al Shola. Excellencies and friends, as you all are aware, the celebrations to commemorate 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi began in 2018, with Government of India announcing numerous activities and events which were held not only within India, but across the world. And the year 2020 makes the culmination of these celebrations, a befitting tribute to a leader whose ideas and thoughts inspired many irrespective of nationality. The philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi continues to be a torchbearer in the present times, especially when the world is trying to re-emerge and rebuild itself from the adverse impact of COVID-19 pandemic. His visionary ideas and thoughts are even more relevant today. Even while India continues to battle the COVID-19 crisis and persistent efforts are being made on the economic front to stabilize and speed up the growth, Mahatma Gandhi's principles and philosophy are the guiding light for the leadership and policymakers. Be it the clarion call of Honorable Prime Minister Modi for Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, which focuses on making India self-reliant and contributing towards a more prosperous and resilient world, or launch of the new education policy which will lay foundation of new India, or Mission Karm Yogi aimed at ensuring efficient public service delivery. All these policy initiatives have placed the poor and vulnerable sections of society at the core of the growth agenda, thus underlining equal importance of ease of living and ease of doing business. Distinguished guests, over the period of last 2 years, the embassy with support of Government of Kingdom of Bahrain and in association with Indian Community Associations organized a series of events and activities, quiz competitions, cycling marathon, planting of trees, beach cleaning drives to name a few. We also witnessed the launch of the book on Gandhiji written by the renowned Bahraini scholar and author, His Excellency Abdul Nabi Al Shola. We are honored with his presence today in the event. I am delighted to hear that his translations in various languages are coming up soon. I would be in particular interested to get a copy in English to read it. This year, as part of grand finale celebrations of Gandhi at 150, the embassy is planning to conduct a number of activities highlighting various aspects of philosophy and teachings of Gandhiji in association with Indian associations throughout this month, culminating on 2nd October, his birthday. Given the present COVID situation, of course, this will be held in through the digital platform. The first event, an essay contest, has already been launched. I am happy to see that today's technical session is on the theme Gandhian economics for growth in India, from Atmanirbhar Bharat to Sarvodaya. I am sure the deliberations and discussions would help understand the nuances of today's economic realities and the relevance of Gandhian economic principles in facing these challenges. Friends, as we acknowledge 150 years of an enormous legacy, let's all recommit to the principles of Gandhiji. I would like to conclude by again wishing the Bahrain chapter of ICAI all the success in their endeavor for month-long celebrations to celebrate life of one of the most influential figures in modern history. And we assure you of Embassy's full support in all such activities. I also take up this opportunity to thank Government of Bahrain for all its supports which we get in celebrating these events as well as other activities, and also thank Mr. Abdul Nabi Shola and all my friends from Bahrain for participating in this event, which has made this event even more valuable and meaningful. So I congratulate Bahrain chapter of ICAI for this and wish you all the success. Thank you.
Thank you, His Excellency. We really appreciate you taking your precious time and making a presence for this event. We look forward to seeing you again for our upcoming events. Our chairperson, as you have mentioned that you have various activities planned, our chairperson, C. Ajay Kumar, would like to add to this. Chairperson, sir, to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Vineet. Thank you, Your Excellency, for the inspiring words as well as giving us an overview of the policy initiatives being undertaken by the government as well as the embassy. Besides the activities that you had laid out from the embassy, we have some of the following events planned for the month of September. We already circulated to our members the essay competition organized by the Indian Embassy on the relevance of Mahatma Gandhi in today's world. We launched last week a competition for our members, which is saving electricity. So this is again a month-long event where we are encouraging our members to save electricity and water. Further to the Seva concept of Mahatma Gandhi, we launched a free doubts clearance session for students who are appearing for the CA Foundation exam in November from Bahrain. there's nothing like sharing knowledge, and I think I'm grateful to our members who volunteered to do these sessions during weekends. Today was the first session that was conducted by CA Karthik Jagannathan. Our past chairperson, C.A. Sridhar, will conduct a live art session for children on drawing of a portrait of Gandhiji. This is planned for the next weekend. We are also working on doing a virtual tour of the Gandhi Ashram in Sevagram for the children. Again, this is again planned for the next weekend. There will be a digital tribute to Gandhiji by BCICI members' children who are currently undergoing a 3D animation classes. So this is the digital way of paying tribute to our father of nation. For the Swachhata Hi Seva concept, we will launch a session on 26th September, where there will be a session which will focus on how to segregate the waste and recycle it right way. So this is will happen on the 26th. We also wanted to do a physical event on Swachhata Hi Seva, but due to the current warning of social distancing, we are considering a digital cleanup campaign. So whatever that means, we are working on that concept for now, so which can be done from the home for the members. And we will conclude the celebration on the 2nd of October with two events. One will be a recreation of the Dandi March. 81 of our members and family will cover a distance of 386 kilometers in honor of the Dandi March. And then we also have a Gandhi quiz for the children, which will also be conducted on the same day. So I look forward to the wholehearted participation from all our members, as they always do for all our activities. And this is our way of paying tribute to the father of the nation. So thank you again. Thank you, all, Your Excellencies, for all the kind words that you have given us. And with that, I hand it back to CA Vinit.
Thank you, Chairperson C. Ajay Kumar. As Prime Minister Modi ji has named us ICI as partner in nation building, His Excellency, you can take the Bahrain chapter of ICI as partner in your activity building, and we will provide our best of our support that we can help the Indian Embassy and his activities. His Excellency. All work and no play make Jack a dull boy. We BCICI are proud of our members' intellect and financial prowess, but we are equally proud of our members' talent and other creative field. I would like to invite our members, CA Sandeep Gupta and CA Sri Bharti ji, for presenting before us Mahatma Gandhi's favorite bhajan, Vaishnav Jan. CA Sandeep ji, CA Bharti ji, welcome. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Yes. Thank you. We'll just get started. वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीर पराई जाने रे। पर दुखे उपकार करे तो ये मन अभिमान रानी रे। वाचकाच मन निश्चल राखे जन जन दननी ते नीरे वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीर पराई जाने रे Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was such a melody. Great performance, CA Sandeep Gupta and CA Bharti ji. Thanks for your performance.
So before the technical session, there is one last special performance by one of our past chairpersons. So Vineet.
Our next performance is by our past chairperson, CA Kapil Batra ji. His wit, humor, and sarcasm is always on point. And today, he will be reciting his poem, Sam Bhavani Yuge Ruge. Sir, the screen is yours.
Thank you. Welcome to all of you, and especially our chief guest, His Excellency Piyush Srivastava ji, and His Excellency Abdul Nabi Shola ji, and all the members of BIS here. Since I am given this opportunity to express my thoughts about Shri Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi, we fondly remember, and His Excellency Abdul Nabi Shola, I know you are a big fan of Gandhi. But I will be reciting a poem. It will be in Hindi. But one special verse I present to you about Mahatma Gandhi in Urdu, I hope you will enjoy, is that कई सदियों में आता है जो शख्स लेके आता है, कई सदियों में आता है जो शख्स लेके आता है, ऐसा लम्हा जो कि सदियों को थाम लेता है. Means a person comes in centuries who brings that one moment which has a power to hold the centuries. And now the poem which I wrote especially for today's environment, where people are in search of a Mahatma. So for that, I have described what is happening today and what would have been the dream of Mahatma, and it has a relation to our ancient Bhagavad Gita, where the God has said that whenever there will be lack of humanity in this world, I will come. So it goes like this. विध्वंस में प्रसन्नता को खोज रहा मानव, विध्वंस में प्रसन्नता को खोज रहा मानव, क्षमा भूल प्रतिशोध पथ पे चला मानव, घात प्रतिघात है अथवा षड्यंत्र है, घात प्रतिघात है अथवा षड्यंत्र है, मानवीय मूल्यों को ही भूल चुका मानव, घाव को अतीत के भरने नहीं देता है, घाव को अतीत के भरने नहीं देता है, कांटे वर्तमान में भविष्य हेतु बोता है, नीति नहीं लक्ष्य एकमात्र इसका राज है, नीति नहीं लक्ष्य एकमात्र इसका राज है, सर्वहित को त्याग स्वार्थ साध रहा मानव, बुद्धि और विवेक लुप्त ज्ञान अंधकार में, बुद्धि और विवेक लुप्त ज्ञान अंधकार में, प्रेम सत्य की परख न पूछ संसार में, कोलाहल है नारों का तर्क का स्थान नहीं, कोलाहल है नारों का और तर्क का स्थान नहीं, नैसर्गिक न्याय नियम त्याग चुका मानव. यह समय है. Now I bring to foray that old Gita conscious. यह समय है सत्य हो संभवामि युगे युगे, यह समय है सत्य हो संभवामि युगे युगे, हो पुनः अवतार तेरा, पुनः वह अलख जगे। मात्र नहीं भारत ही वर्ण पूर्ण विश्व में, मात्र नहीं भारत ही वर्ण पूर्ण विश्व में, धर्म कह अधर्म वृक्ष सींच रहा मानव। और सुप्त आत्माओं में जगा कोई महात्मा। Our theme is awaken the Mahatma in you. सुप्त आत्माओं में जगा कोई महात्मा, मैं या वो जो योग्य है निमित्त तू उसे बना, इस तमस में जो प्रकाश चारों ओर कर सके। सुप्त आत्माओं में जगा कोई महात्मा, मैं या वो जो योग्य है निमित्त तू उसे बना, इस तमस में जो प्रकाश चारों ओर कर सके। मार्ग तेरे दूत का अब देख रहा मानव, मार्ग तेरे दूत का अब देख रहा मानव। सुप्त आत्माओं में जगा कोई महात्मा, मैं या वो जो योग्य है निमित्त तू उसे बना, इस तमस में जो प्रकाश चारों ओर कर सके। मार्ग तेरे दूत का अब देख रहा मानव। थैंक यू।
Thanks, C. Kapilji. Dhanyawad. The poem was very powerful. It was, as we said, the sarcasm and satire is your satire and sarcasm is always on point, and the poem was reflection of that. Dhanyawad. Thank you, Kapilji, for that. Moving to our technical session. Mahatma Gandhi's main principle which he taught us were truth, non-violence, non-possession, and sarvodaya, which is upliftment of all. In the pandemic, the income gap between the richest and poorest has increased massively. The above principle of Mahatma Gandhi of sarvodaya has become more significant for sustainable economic growth, where we want development for all, not for the few. Our topic for this session is Gandhian economic for growth in India, from Atmanirbhar Bharat to Sarvodaya. Today, we have Professor Swagato Chatterjee as a guest speaker who will educate us how Gandhian economic is relevant for inclusive growth in India. Before starting, a brief background of Professor Chatterjee. Professor Swagato Chatterjee holds a BTech degree from IIT Kharagpur and a PhD in marketing from IIM Bangalore. He is currently an assistant professor in Vinod Gupta School of Management, IIT Kharagpur, in the area of marketing and analytics. He has worked with various companies and corporates like Coca-Cola, Times of India, Technosoft, Nomura, Yes Bank, Ernst & Young, Janpact, and Indian Oil in various consultancy and training assignments related to analytics. Pleased to welcome Professor Chatterjee. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Vineet. Can you hear me properly?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can.
Okay, I will share my screen.
Okay,
I
sir.
think my sharing screen is disabled. If you can please give me access.
You just do it.
Done, sir.
Done, sir. I think you are the co-host now. You can actually do the screen sharing.
Is it visible properly?
Yeah, it is
Respected
visible.
dignitaries, His Excellency Piyush Srivastava, sir, His Excellency, I forgot, I'm very sorry. His Excellency Abdul Nabi also, sir, and C. Ajay Kumar. With all of your permission, I will start this presentation on Gandhian economics for inclusive growth in India, from Atmanirbhar Bharat to Sarvodaya.
Dr. Chatterjee,
So
I
as
think
you have in
just
the background of mine, I'm not a Gandhi expert. I cannot claim myself to be a Gandhi expert, but we all, in some way or other, we all follow Bapuji and we all read about Bapuji. We all sometimes read about Bapuji from other people who have been close to Bapuji. And from that kind of knowledge, I have read about Gandhiji, and I have read about his thought processes. And I've read about other people's, I would say, analysis of those thought processes. And based on that, I have also created my own analysis. And whatever I'm going to present today is probably a mixture of my own ideas about Gandhiji's economic thoughts, and whatever I have learned from various, as an academician, probably it is my duty to read, comprehend, and then present in front of people, and that is what I'm going to do today. So when I say about Gandhi and economics, Gandhiji, we all know, was not an economist per se.
Professor
Gandhiji
Chatterjee,
might be a philosopher, Gandhiji might be I would be a politician, but he was never not an economist. But when you are a philosopher, probably all aspects of life is sometimes.
Professor Chatterjee, sorry to interrupt you for a second. I'm so sorry. We will just like a minute to thank His Excellency for coming for the today's address. Thank you. I think His Excellency has been very gracious that he has provided his presence today. He will be taking a leave. Thank you, His Excellency.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for being with us today. I will continue.
Yes, sir. So sorry, sir. Can you continue, please?
Yes. So as I was telling that Gandhi was not an economist, he was a philosopher. But when we talk about philosophy is something where probably everything comes under the umbrella of philosophy. There can be economics, there can be sociology, there can be anthropology. Everything probably comes under the broad domain of philosophy. So when I say Gandhiji was a philosopher, he was probably had certain kind of economic ideas also for the growth, for the betterment of common people. And that is something that we are going to discuss today. Now, this term called Gandhian economics came from another economist who was also a Gandhian, and he helped Dr. J.C. Kumarappa, who was an economist and who was part of Indian nation building. He was part of the planning commission in the early days of post-independence day in India. And he was a Gandhian. He was a very thorough follower of Gandhiji. He has lived very closely with Gandhiji for a certain period of time, and he have read about Gandhiji a lot. And basically, Dr. J.C. Kumarappa was somebody who has coined this particular term. And this term is not exactly on the economic thought processes. For example, we read multiple kinds of economics. We did capitalist economics, we did socialist economics, Marxist economics. There are lots of thought process that is there under the broad domain of economics. Gandhian economics probably will be not under any of these thought processes. Probably it will never taught, or till now I'm not sure whether it is taught. At least whatever economics books I have studied, it is not there. But still, this is something that is so important for Indian context that we again and again come back to this particular term and discuss about this particular term in detail. So whatever I'm going to say today is probably highly influenced by the thought processes of J.C. Kumarappa, and his whatever he told about Gandhian economics, he wrote, he comprehended for common people like us about Gandhian economics. That is something that I'm going to discuss today. Now, Gandhiji, when I talk about Gandhiji, we all know that Gandhiji was a very simple person. He was a simple, living and high thinking kind of a person. And there are very basic 3 points that Gandhiji practiced all over his life. And these basic 3 points were probably also relevant in the context of Gandhian economics is: one is Satya, second is Ahimsa, and third is Aparigraha. So basically truth, non-violence, and non-position. So some of them you might probably can connect with economics. Some of them is not exactly economic concepts, like truthfulness or non-violence. I do not know how these are economic contexts, but as we go through this presentation, we will see that how the basic 3 concepts of Gandhiji's preaching is also associated with the economic thought processes of Gandhiji. So Gandhian economics, when we talk about, it's not exactly only economics. Gandhiji thought that economics is not something which can be seen in a silo. It cannot be seen that, okay, your growth is happening, your economic growth is happening, and all other growths are stopped. It cannot be seen like that. We are human beings. If we are human being, our existence is affected by our economic betterment, our, I would say, socio-cultural betterment, our internal spiritual betterment as well. So Gandhiji's economy is probably an amalgamation between your economic growth or economic upliftment and also the spiritual upliftment. And what I call the spiritual upliftment is not a religion. It's not whether you are Hindu or Muslim or Christian, not a specific religion. It's spirituality upliftment means a way to connect yourself and with the nature or with the God, whomever you believe. So when we talk about spiritual upliftment, the context of well-being, context of morality, context of ethics, context of spirituality, all of these things comes together. And when we think about economics, as per Gandhiji, we cannot leave these things aside. We have to think all of these things together. Now, these are very big terms. These are very well-being, morality, ethics. These are very big terms, very abstract terms. And sometimes for a common person who have to think every day for his bread and butter, it becomes very difficult for a common person to understand that what these things are. At the end of the day, for a common person, it is the daily wage that he earns. That's what will matter. Whether my spiritual upliftment is happening or not, probably will not matter directly to a common person. But it actually matters, and that's what I will talk about. Now, we have to understand that Gandhian economics has a context. It has also a context which can be extended in today's world also, but primarily the context comes from the time when imperialism was very high, British rule was in India. So given that context, I will start a little bit of very basic discussion about what this thing is. What is the amalgamation of economics and well-being? So Gandhiji, according to Gandhiji, and as Dr. Kumarappa actually explained about Gandhian thought processes, there are certain stages of economics. The first stage is a tiger stage. What does a tiger do? A tiger goes and hunts, right? It hunts and it kills certain animals and it eats certain animals. Tiger does not store the food. Tiger does not think about whether the supply of the food, whether the availability of animals will be there or not. The sustainability of animals will be there or not. Tiger don't care whether animal welfare is happening or not. As long as he is getting food, he is happy, and he will not store. Every day he will kill, and if the food is left, he will not again touch that food and he will probably go and kill again. So that is something that is his animal nature. That is how God has made him. Now, if we compare this with our economic thought processes, probably imperialist thought processes of economics is like this, where I will only suck out the wealth from a particular country as an imperialist, and I will not think about the betterment of that particular country. And I will probably destroy the country in some way or other. At the cost of the destruction of the country, I will look for my betterment. Now, not all imperialists were like that. Certain imperialists was a little bit less like that. And that is probably what a monkey do. What does a monkey do? Monkey is also a predator. It also goes around, collects food. It does not create food. It does not actually create a tree or plant a tree and take care of a tree. It does not do that. What it does is actually goes and collects fruits and vegetables. The only difference between a monkey and tiger is that the tiger kills the animal. The tiger does not think about the sustainability of the animal. At least the monkey thinks about that. He does not kill the whole tree altogether. But still, he does not contribute anything towards the trees. At least very visibly, it does not. So that is what a monkey does. And it is probably also a little bit part of, I would say, imperialism. The less harmful imperialism, probably a soft part of capitalism is like this, where you do not do harm to the society, but you also take from the society. You don't give back to the society. third steps comes the birds. What does a bird do? A bird also collects food from the nature. That part is equal to whatever this monkey is doing. But bird also creates a nest, and it collects this particular food and etc. and puts it in its nest. And after putting it in its nest, it says that, okay, whatever I have kept inside my nest is mine. Whatever is there in the nature can be anybody's. Everybody can share the natures. But whatever I have kept inside my nest is mine or my kids. That is how the birds work. So it is basically doing something, it's working, it's creating certain object and then enjoying that object. It is not just taking it from the nature, it is creating it. There is some amount of creativity involved. Probably current days of capitalism is like that you work and then you enjoy. You work but you work for your own. You work for your own and then you enjoy for your own. You don't claim everything to be yours, but certain thing that you have worked and accumulated and acquired is yours. Nobody can claim that. This is probably very close to capitalism. Now I'm talking about the bees. What does a bee do? Bee also collect food from outside, from the nature. But beehive has a common storage place. Everybody collects the nectar and the honey and etc. and put that inside this beehive. And when they put inside this beehive, they have an expectation that even if I have done lot or a small thing, whatever be my contribution, I will get a little bit of share from that storage. I will get my food. So they work together, they work for each other. They don't work only for their selfish needs. They work for each other, but at the end of the day, they have this in their mind that I will put this inside in the storage place because today I might be producing more, tomorrow I might produce less. And when tomorrow I produce less, I will still have access to the food. So that is how probably the socialism will work. Socialism works in this way where that there is an uncertainty in the production, there is an uncertainty in what you can do, what you cannot do. And probably everybody comes together, puts something, but there are huge kinds of questions to this model. There are questions in terms of free riding. People say that people will free ride, people will become lazy, people will become not so enterprising in nature. They will not work up to their level. Lots of criticisms are there, both for socialism and obviously for capitalism. We have heard a lot. Now, why people do a small mistake is, and probably His Excellency Abdul Nabi has correctly identified that there is a difference between Gandhian thought process and socialism. Gandhiji was not exactly a socialist by definition. Gandhian economics talks about be a mother. You do something for the society, not with an expectation that you will get back, but with an expectation that it will do a spiritual upliftment for you. There are two kinds of utilities we were talking about. One is the economic benefit, economic utility for a person, and there is a spiritual utility of a person. So you focus on the spiritual utility. If everybody focuses on the spiritual utility inside a society, the economic utility will automatically be taken care of. So that's what a mother does. A mother takes care of his babies, not with an expectation that, okay, this baby will grow up and at the old age, he will take care of me. He might not take care of her. There are so many children who do not take care of their parents, but still the mother will do her work, because that is something, that is how God has probably made the mothers, that they will do selflessly. That selflessness is something that Gandhi also preached in all the activity that you do. For example, if you are teaching, teach not for the salary that you get, but teach for the betterment of the people. If you do betterment for the people, automatically you will get salary. That is something that Gandhiji is trying to preach. Now, obviously, there are certain issues in that. There are certain trust issues. There are certain, if not this free riding issues, trust is a very important factor in this model to run. But at least this particular model talks about the first step of whatever Gandhi told, which is the satya, the truth. Whatever you do it truthfully. Do it at least thus. Do it at least that. Do it in its truest sense, not for an exchange of something, but because you will get spiritual utility from that. Next comes non-violence. So what is non-violence in economics? I will not actually have nothing written in this slide, and I will discuss it on my as I go ahead. So why do violence happens? In most of the cases, if you see carefully, or Gandhiji also told that violence happens when the resource is limited. Let's say in my childhood, I and my elder sister, I have an elder sister, we used to fight for biscuits or let's say some chocolates and etc. because there were one chocolates and we have to share. And we both wanted to have it. We were so greedy to have it because it's a chocolate, it looks so nice. And I don't want to share a chocolate. So that kind of things happen. And then we used to fight with each other a lot. That is exactly when violence starts. Violence starts when the resource, the basic thing is that when the supply is low and the demand is high, as simple as that. When the supply is low, the demand is high, whoever have the higher willingness to pay or higher monetary purchasing power will get that. Or if purchasing power is not something that controls the world, whoever has higher muscle power will get that. And that is how people are struggling. You will see that World War I, World War II, and even today, in the Middle East, in China, in here and there, everywhere, all these fights that are happening between countries, between communities, between people is for the access of resources. Who will get the control? If you go in deep in analyzing the strategic reason why these fights are happening, it is not because of any other regions that people preach, but probably the access of resources is the only reason. Now, if access of resources is the reason, then why don't we, if we at all have to embrace non-violence, we have to embrace such kind of resources which are abundant, where we will not be able to fight. For oil, you might have to fight because oil is limited, coal is limited, minerals are limited. Sometimes probably air, how much oxygen I have in the air is also limited, and people fight for whether the Greenland will be there in my place, or Greenland means green coverage, forests will be there in my place or your place. So for my people's consumption, I will do in your country. I will do farming in your country by cutting down the trees. That kind of fights are also going on in today's world. But if we try to focus on resources which are abundant, which Mother Nature has given us in a huge amount of quantity, then probably this violence will come down. One easy example is if you focus on renewable energy. So if we do not only focus on one kind of energy, but we go for, okay, some amount of our consumption also comes from solar energy. Lots of governments are hugely focusing on that. Or let's say wind energy, then some amount of violence comes down. Non-violence is also not only the resources, the fight for the resources is something where violence comes up. Non-violence is also comes up when we, again, His Excellency Abdul Nabi has told today that Gandhiji was against large-scale capitalist industries. He was more focused on village-based industries. Why village-based industries? I'll give an example. I'll give two examples what Gandhiji told. One is Gandhiji told and one Dr. Kumarappa told, following the same context. Many times these British people tell us that we have done development for your country when we were there for 200 years. We have made railways, we have made highways, we have created the government, the parliament, the this, the that. So why are you only see the bad part of the thing and why don't you see the good thing? Now, Gandhiji told, and probably in today's world, Shashi Tharoor, I have seen a video of Shashi Tharoor, who is also saying that in a lecture in London, that these railways that they all brag about. What was this railways doing? That railway was made not for our own commute, We were not in a need of commute heavily at that point of time, at least heavily inside the country. That railways were majorly made to get an access of our farmlands, our very, very, I would say, remote farmlands. From those remote farmlands, cotton were developed, agriculture of cotton was happening, and the raw cotton was taken through those airlines to the ports, from the ports to Manchester, and in that Manchester, this cotton will be converted to a cloth or a dress, and then that cloth or dress will come back to India and will be sold at a high price. And all the weavers of our country, they will be very much punished, or they will be highly taxed and etc. So basically, this is a mechanism through which you are sucking out resources from one place and giving it to somebody else. This is not something that creates violence. If you do that, that will obviously get some kind of retaliation from the people who are oppressed, and that will create violence. Now you will say that, okay, this is not happening in today's world. Today's world, we are all open. This is something that happened 200 years ago or 100 years ago. Let me give an example how it is happening in today's world. There is a village called Arcot in Tamil Nadu. Correct me if I'm wrong in the spelling or some information, but whatever I heard, this village is very close by to the I would say the sea, and all the rainfall that happens, the land is so porous that all the rainfall that happens, 95% actually percolates towards the sea, and the land can only hold 5% of the rainfall. So there is shortage of water, as simple as that. There is shortage of water. Now, this particular village didn't have electricity. It's a very remote village, but didn't have electricity for a very long time. Now, electricity came, and concerned government at that point of time told that, see, we have brought electricity in this village. But think about this thing, that who will get this electricity first time when it reaches a village? Probably those people who will get electricity are probably a little bit well-to-do families within that village. Probably they will have a little bit of farmland, more farmland than the other people. So even today, there are distribution imbalance in terms of how much farmland who holds. So in the village, there will be some people who will have large amount of farmland, and other people will work on that farmland. Now, when electricity comes, what happens is that electricity basically sucks out water from that 5% water that is being stored in the ground. It sucks out water, agriculture happens, and not agriculture happens for the village. Agriculture happens, and probably that kind of agriculture happens. Basically, what was happening there was making of fruit, and fruit trees and etc. requires lots of water. And those fruits are then transferred to Bangalore and Chennai in bigger cities and sold there. So basically, by bringing in electricity, you are not giving access to water to the common people because they don't have money to have a pump. You are giving access to water to the people who are sitting in Bangalore or Chennai, where probably water shortage is not that much. So then why this electricity? Gandhiji was not against this electricity, or Gandhiji was not against this kind of railways, but Gandhiji was against how you are using it. It's like whether you are against technology or whether you are against the bad usage of technology, whether you are against nuclear power or whether you are against nuclear bomb. Gandhiji was against nuclear bomb. Many times, many other people say that Gandhiji was against nuclear technology, or Gandhiji was against railroads, or Gandhiji was against any kind of industrialization. No, Gandhiji was against oppression. Gandhiji was against probably capitalism or sucking out money from the common people. So that is the non-violence that Gandhiji wanted to focus. And this non-violence will not automatically come. It is in our inherent body, in our mind, that I will possess something. I would say the need of possessing something, that greed, is something which is very inherent. In Hindu religion, we have 5 ripus, we call it, 5 kind of sins. One of them is greed. This is one kind of a ripu. It's one kind of a sin, because greed is one kind of sin because it is inherent. This is something that you have to overcome, and you cannot overcome this with economic books. And you cannot overcome this with economics books, and until and unless you overcome this non-violence, achieving of this non-violence will not happen. So when we talk about economic thought processes, that's why we cannot keep spirituality away. For the non-possession part, at least, we have to bring in the spirituality aspect. Now, my question is that how will I do this? How will I actually practice this in our real life, in current world situation? We cannot change the whole society all of a sudden to something which is not, I would say, absolutely pro-Gandhi. We cannot do that in a one-night situation. We cannot do that. It's not possible. And even if we try to do that, there are other countries who may not think like us, and they might probably take the advantage of our trust towards them. So that competition will go on, and we have to live in this competition. But what small things we can do is some changes, and I will suggest some of them. The first thing that I will suggest is that is spiritual upliftment of Indian consumers. Like, the government itself has to contribute on this. I think it's my perception, and government at some point of level is doing that using its Ayush ministry and other ministry. At least Indian government is doing that. I think many other governments are all over the world are also doing that. Whether they follow Gandhian economics or not are a different story. But all of the people at various levels are trying to do that they are doing spiritual upliftment of their consumers. They're making consumers believe that you have to do something for a long run. You have to do sustainable consumption. You have to do green consumption, not something that you consume more today. So keep this world livable. Make this world habitable for your sons, for your grandsons, or granddaughters, obviously, and not only for you. So that kind of spiritual upliftment has to be done, and probably in a very structured way. I'm not talking about preaching any religion. I'm preaching spirituality. Promote green and organic. That is something, again, many governments are doing. And we as a personal level should also do this, that we should try to practice such kind of products which are less harmful to the society. We should practice, I would say, reuse of the product, or probably refurbished products we should be more focused on. Even if we have money, so promote anti-materialism. When I'm talking about anti-materialism, I'm not saying that you don't buy anything luxury. You have money, you have to spend somewhere. No, I am not saying that you keep the money. You keep the money and don't invest in something, or you don't think about creating wealth. I'm not saying that, at least at the current situation. But if at all you have money, and if at all you have the ability to do something good, why don't you put the money for local products, rural products? You focus on, if spiritual upliftment happens, then you will get lots of benefits from this local rural products also. So we buy probably around in Indians money 4,000, 5,000 rupees dress, which is designed by somebody, and we get an hedonic pleasure. If we have to get hedonic pleasure from a product which is made by a designer, why can't we get hedonic pleasure from the similar kind of product made by somebody who is close to our heart? So how will you value the product that is made by your mom? A food, let's say, a plate of food versus a 5-star hotel's food, which one will you have? If you can love your local and rural producers in such a level, then you can probably think about anti-materialistic thought processes. Anti-materialistic does not mean that you do not spend money. Anti-materialism means spend money in the right place. So these are something that we have to change. Economics start from consumers. The basic concepts of economics, I don't know. I'm pretty sure this has been taught in various levels of your college days, school days, and etc. When we think economics, we start with the demand function. So demand function is talking about what? Demand function is talking about at what price consumers will buy what. So it starts with the consumers. So until and unless I can change my consumers, which is the common people, I will not be able to change the economy. So that is number one. Number is centralized key industry and decentralized production. As His Excellency Abdul Nabi also told that Gandhiji was not told that, okay, everything should be centralized. Only the key ones, only the ones which are absolutely important for the whole country has to be centralized. All other things should be decentralized. What is decentralized means? Gandhiji was huge proponent of cooperative systems, where some people, some villagers come together, creates a cooperative and do betterment for that locality. They create products which will be more used in this locality. Atmanirbhar I am talking about. So everything that we need within this locality will be produced in and around this locality. That kind of a small economic structures Gandhiji were preaching. If that happens, and if that happens under a cooperative system, which is decentralized, means every locality has its own cooperative systems, then that will create Sarvodaya. Sarvodaya means betterment of everybody. And also, GDP was not the term that was there, and at least I do not know Gandhiji ever mentioned that about that or not. But GDP alone is not the measurement of individuals' growth. We have to think about inclusive growth. Some of the measurements are HDI and etc. given by socialist people, but that also do not consider the spirituality aspect. When we think about growth of people, we have to think about both developmental, economic, and spiritual. So there has to be some way to bring in the spiritual, pro-nature, pro-local, these things also in our matrices of measuring growth, measuring betterment. That's all from me. It was a monologue. I will take questions if you have any questions.
Thank you, Professor Chatterjee. There were various highlights. The floor is open for the question. Any members who have asked to ask any question for Professor Chatterjee, please unmute yourself or ask, or send me in the chat and I can ask the professor.
There is a question on the chat, Vinay.
I cannot see it. Let me see.
So it says with due respect to Mahatma Gandhi, Gandhian economics is impractical and imaginary. His thought and philosophy are one of the best, but is there a need to convert it as economy for the sake of it? This is a question, Dr. Chet.
Yeah. Can you repeat the question? I could not get. Can you repeat, please?
So I think the summary of the question is that the philosophy is one of the best in terms of the Gandhian economics, but is there a need for this to be converted as an economy or economics, for the sake of it?
It is good in
So
philosophy.
The need will come. Yeah, so the need will come from how you see the world's economy is progressing. Whether we are producing a lot, we are creating newer things every day, but are we? Whether sustainability is there, that is the key question. If you feel that sustainability is there as a human being, you think that the economy is going in the right path, then probably the question, you might not have to embrace this Gandhian economics. But if sustainability is at question, then obviously this comes up. And Gandhian economics gives you suggestions that how sustainability can be achieved within the economic thought processes that you currently have. It is not an absolutely different thought process which cannot be applied in a socialist economy also, or in a capitalist economy also, or in a something middle also. It's something which is an individual level practice that you have to do, and individual level practice will probably change the world. So that is what Gandhiji wanted to preach. So it's based on your belief that whether we are going towards the sustainable world or not. So if you think that we are in a sustainable world, this is something which is good enough, but still inequality there, still people die out of hunger, still people fight with each other. Every day people kill each other. Probably economic thought processes are still not reached this equilibrium. It will still change. It will still, people will still experiment, and then we'll reach an equilibrium. Let's see.
Okay.
When I say centralized, I mean to say centralized by government, not in a private hand, at least as per Gandhiji. But even when it is called private, he was, for example, Gandhiji was some of the people who was of similar times. Jamshedji Tata was of similar times. Probably Gandhiji was not a class. If you were a capitalist also, or at least a entrepreneur also, you have some amount of responsibility towards the society. So even some key industries, if they are in hand of people who have social sense, that is something is also good. So probably the social, we have taken this corporate social responsibility in India, as many companies have taken, is to be a mandate and not something as a duty of it's not a intrinsic thing that is comes up. It's because of a law we do that, and that we also do that in such a way so that it will come back and benefit the company itself. So if you have that kind of a thought process, that's not a Gandhian way of centralization. That does not mean that centralized industry will not go into the private hands.
There's a question for His Excellency Abdul Nabi Al Shola, sir. Which among the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi do you see is much the need of the time in today's world scenario? I think His Excellency is not there. Maybe next question can take
I
minute.
think he's there. I think he's there. He's on mute. Like,
Mute.
I've asked him to unmute. I'm just checking that he can.
Do you hear me now?
Yes, sir, we can.
I would say yes, indeed. All the principles and ideals of Mahatma Gandhi is much more needed in our region than anywhere else in the world. Look at the concept or principle of peace and non-violence. Look at what is happening all around us. Look at the need we need Gandhi to be with us in Yemen. We need him to help us in the process of peace in the Middle East, which is now a lot of discussion is going on, a lot of initiatives, but a lot of opposition, a lot of challenges to such an approach. We need him to be here. We need him to be in Iraq. We need him to be in Syria. Where if Gandhi was there, if Gandhi's principle and ideals have been adopted by the leaders and thinkers of our region, we would have avoided a lot of the tension and a lot of losses of life. There are nowhere else in the world so many people are killed, so many people are injured, so many people are in need, so many people are without homes, and we really need that. The occasion, I always said, even before the 150th anniversary of Gandhi, was an occasion where we should evoke his principles as loudly and as widely in our region as possible. I believe, and even today, we need him there to be in India of what is happening there. We miss him. We miss him everywhere. I hope that answered your question. I can't hear. Where is the sound?
Yes, Your Excellency. We can hear you, and we totally agree with Mahatma Gandhiji's principle can be applied everywhere pervasively, and we require his guidelines, his thought process in all the situation. In war, without war, in misery, in peace, all they can be used in any time. And Professor Chatterjee we are very grateful to you also. There were many highlights in your presentations, which were which we see that the outcome, people should concentrate on your duty rather than the outcome of the wealth, which was a very major highlight which I learned from your presentation. There is one more question which we are taking right now, and then we will go forward. Dr. Chatterjee, how Prime Minister Modi and the government of India is targeting a $5 trillion economy in a medium to long term target. How do you see that happening with Gandhian economics?
So one thing that that I would like to thank our Prime Minister for that he has focused on one aspect of Gandhiji, which is Atmanirbhar and Make in India. So one way of doing it is to less depend on other people and depend more on our own resources that we have inside our country. Now, $5 trillion GDP target is, see, every government has multiple targets. I will not say that, as I just told a few minutes back, that along with embracing Gandhiji's philosophy in Swachhata, Atmanirbhar, Make in India, our Prime Minister has multiple other goals also. He has to also protect us from the economic thought processes which does not follow Gandhiji. There are other countries who do not follow Gandhiji. So 5 trillion GDP target, part of that can be reached through the Gandhian economic thought processes himself by focusing on the growth of overall India, the common people, and growth of the rural India. Rural India is huge, right? We have 150 crores population. So even if we can increase the population by probably the income by probably 10,000, 15,000, we probably will come to that. If we can reduce our poverty level, we can probably come to that. Forget about anything else. But along with that, along with achieving that, we have to also compete with external forces. We have neighbors, we have faraway forces who have given us economic and probably sometimes political, sometimes I would say military threats to our existence. So obviously non-violence is something that we have to follow as much as possible. But sometimes for a short-term period at least, you have to follow certain kind of stuff which is not exactly Gandhian economics. So I would not say that PM Modi is absolutely following Gandhian economy, or he should absolutely follow Gandhian economy. But part of the things that he is following will actually do lots of good things for our rural India or our common people. So I would say not everything out of this 5 trillion GDP can be achieved by Gandhian economics, but obviously a definite chunk of that.
I agree. A $4 trillion economy with less income disparity is much better than $5 trillion with income disparity. I guess so. So thanks, Your Excellency Abdul Nabi Al-Shola, Professor Swagato Chatterjee. I would like to invite my fellow CA members, CA Ekansh Agarwal, for the vote of thanks.
Thank you, CA Vineet. I hope I am visible and audible.
Yes, you are. Yes.
The best and beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt by heart. Thank you is one such prayer among them. Honorable Chief Guest, His Excellency Mr. Piyush Srivastava, Honorable Guest of Honor, His Excellency Mr. Abdul Nabi Al-Shola, Eminent Professor Dr. Swagato Chatterjee, Chairperson of Bharan Chapter of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, C.A. Ajay Kumar, Executive Committee of Bharan Chapter of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, my fellow members of Bharan Chapter of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and our most valued guests. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my proud privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this august occasion of commemorating the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. I take this opportunity to express our profuse gratitude and sincere thanks to His Excellency Piyush Srivastava the Ambassador of India to Bahrain, for his esteemed presence amongst us and for presiding over the function. The valuable thoughts he has expressed on this occasion will no doubt serve our chapter in good stead as we log into the future. Thank you, sir, for your encouraging words, sagacious advice, and guidance. We are deeply indebted to His Excellency Abdul Nabi Al Shola, former Minister of Labor and Social Affairs, member of Shura Council, for all the words of wisdom that radiated a source of energy within us. We will ever remain grateful to you, and we thank you for being with us today. I now want to convey our gratitude and heartfelt thanks to Professor Dr. Swagato Chatterjee for accepting our kind invitation and consenting to come live and deliver the session today. Dr. Swagato's presentation today has truly set the benchmark toward the vision of Prime Minister Narendra Modi of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Our special thanks are also due to the performers CA Sri Bharti, CA Sandeep Gupta, and CA Kapil Batra, who spared their valuable time to display their unparalleled skills among us this jubilant afternoon. A big thank you to Master of Ceremonies, CA Vineet Maru, for his immaculate efforts in managing the session today. I want to commend his own ideas and explanation of everything. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of highly motivated and dedicated members led by none other than charismatic CA Ajay Kumar. I cannot thank them enough for their painstaking trouble in identifying the most appropriate and distinguished personalities, managing the logistics, and conducting an event of this magnitude. I thank all the fellow members for showing their interest in this session. Kind words of appreciation also go to the Indian Embassy in Bahrain, our annual sponsor Steli, the technology that has enabled us to smoothly conduct the session virtually, and none other than Almighty. Finally, I solicit your continued support and encouragement to march forward in our quest for knowledge. Thank you once again to all who have assembled here, and I would like to conclude with a brief yet powerful quote from Mahatma Gandhi. The future depends on what we do today. Thank you. With this, I now hand over to C.A. Jayakumar.
Thank you, C.A. Kansh. So I think now we can conclude the event with the quiz that we have now become used to. So the quiz will be conducted over Kahoot. I guess members are already familiar with the Kahoot concept. So you can either download the Kahoot app, which if you already have on the phone, or you can go to the browser with kahoot.it. And the PIN number I will share shortly. And today, hopefully, we will have in the spirit of sharing, we will have 5 winners. So with the first winner will get 4,000 commitment points. Second winner will get about 2,500. Third is 1,500, and two winners for 1,000 each. So if you are ready, I'm going to share the screen. Oops. I think it's just. I am having technical issues. Just give me a minute. Can you see my screen?
No, we can't. We can see you only.
Okay. So the worst possible time the screen decides not to work. Just a sec.
Ajay, His Excellency is still with us. Maybe you just want to put in a word as to what we are doing now so that he is aware.
Sure, sir. Sorry, His Excellency. I think we conduct our events now. We close it out with a quiz so that we are sure that our members are listening to the whole conversation and all the speeches that happened beforehand. So we kind of reward them with some commitment points concept that we have recently created. So this is to reward the people for their commitment for the events that they are participating. So I'm just trying to launch a quiz on Kahoot, but I'm a bit unable to do at the moment. Okay, let's see. Okay, now I think I can. Just a sec. Can you see my screen now?
Can you double click to? Yeah, now we can see.
Okay, so here we go. So this is the pin number for the game. For the quiz 4795924. Members, please use your membership number as well as the first name so that we can identify who's the. Okay. Okay, so with your permission, I'm going to start. Here comes the first question. So what is BCICI theme for the month of September? Very easy.
Ajay, we can't see the color.
Can't see the color?
Now we can. Yeah.
Okay, majority of them got it right. Some people got I think confused with the word, but I think largely I'm happy most of the answers are correct. Let's see the position. So I think CA Ranga tops now with the first position. We go to the second question now. The following is not part of Gandhian economic concept. It's not part. Oops, I think the question is wrong. The question is, who coined the term Gandhian economics? Who coined the term Gandhian economics? So JC Kumarappa is the correct answer. So that was my error in terms of creating the question. So let's see if there's any change in position. CA Vineet is on top. I don't think CA Vineet is allowed to participate, being the host of the evening. So if he wins, I will disqualify him. as we go to the next question. The following is not part of Gandhian economic concept. So this was the right question. Is not part of Gandhian economic concept. Which of this is not a part? Okay, let's see the position. Nothing much has changed. Vineet, I would request you to drop out. This is a true and false question. J.C. Kumarappa was an Indian spiritual leader. Is it true or false? Was he a spiritual leader? False was the correct answer. I think Dr. Chatterjee had mentioned during his speech about the that he's an economist. So we see the question. Ranga is back on top. Go to the next question quickly. Another true or false? Make in India can be considered as a reflection of Gandhian economics. Is that true or false? Fantastic. Most of you got it right. I don't know, somebody must have pressed it by mistake. One is wrong. Does not much change position. As we go to the next question. Question number 6. Green purchasing behavior can be considered as part of sustainable economy. True or false? Green purchasing behavior can be considered as part of sustainable economy. Majority of you got it right, 34. Let's move to the next question. Again, this right movements, but not much changing. Question number 7 says double points. How many kilometers did Gandhiji and followers cover during Dandi March, and which will be recreated by BCICAI on 2nd October? This was part of my list of events that we have planned. How many kilometers did Gandhiji and followers cover during Dandi March? Six seconds, if we can move quickly. So the correct answer is 386 kilometers. Again, majority of you have got it right. There is change in positions. Stanu is back. Stanu was one of our previous winners. So maybe Stanu should take it easy. Give chance to others. Here goes the next question. The name of the book written by His Excellency Abdul Nabi Al-Shola. Is it Gandhiji and Bahrain, Gandhiji, Islam and Arab World, My Experiments with Tour, Awaken the Mahatma in You? Again, majority of you got it right. It is Gandhi and the issues of Arab and Islamic world. Should go to the ninth question. Last question.
His Excellency want to know who answered it wrong.
Yeah.
Sir, it's the translation is not out. Maybe we can excuse them for now. Next time we will
No,
test them.
it's almost there. Yes. Yeah.
Who will be conducting the ARCS workshop for BCICI children in the month of September? CA Sridhar Stapati, CA Kapil Batra, CA Sandeep Gupta, CA Srivarthi Mahesh Kumar.
Sri Bharti Mahesh Kumar.
Mahesh, I knew you had to answer that. So it is CA Sridhar, but we thank CA Kapil, CA Sandeep, and CA Srivarthi for the wonderful performance that they did today. So that's why I put this question to honor them for doing the special event. Okay, here we go to the last question. So the last question is something from, it's not from today's event, it is something from a message that I had sent on the members group. So if you had watched the message, you can answer this. Which of the following is not an option available for the cryptocurrency masterclass to be held on 18 September? Which of the following is not an option available for cryptocurrency masterclass? This is just to test whether you're reading the messages that I'm sending. Thank you. I guess most of you are reading it. So the other ones were options where we had given some discounts for members who had hold commitment points. So regularly attending our events, technical events will fetch you commitment points, which obviously you can see there is some benefit for it. So with that, I think we will conclude the quiz. Let's see who's finished the top. So CA Garvita finishes number 3. CA Gaurav on second position, and the winner is CS Tanu again. So congratulations, CS Tanu and other winners. So with that, I think we have come to the end. I especially thank His Excellency Abdul Nabi Al-Shola ji, sir, for being with us throughout. It was really an honor, sir, having you. And
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
hope
I
you
enjoyed
enjoyed
it
the
really.
event. We definitely really enjoyed listening to you speak. It was a great session, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Thank you again. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. With that, I wish everybody a good evening and a nice weekend. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, CA Chairperson Ajay Kumar.